Welcome to 8-Minute Masterpieces, where we turn classic literature into bite-sized experiences. Today we dive into A Clockwork Orange, Anthony Burgess's disturbing yet thought-provoking novel. Now let's explore the world of Alex's free will and state control. Our story begins in a dystopian future where teenage violence and delinquency are rampant. The protagonist, Alex, a 15-year-old boy with a love for classical music, leads a gang of Droogs who delight in terrorizing their community. Burgess plunges us immediately into Alex's world, written in a made-up language called Nadsat, which mixes Russian and English. It's a grim, chaotic landscape where free will and moral choices are at the center of the story. The gang's nightly activities are brutal, from random assaults to violent home invasions. But it's not just the violence that strikes us. It's the gleeful way Alex narrates these horrific actions. The contrast between his love for Beethoven and his love for cruelty reveals the duality of human nature, a theme that Burgess explores throughout the novel. Despite his horrific actions, Alex is oddly charismatic, drawing us into his world even as it disgusts us. But this isn't just a tale of a delinquent's life spiraling out of control. Burgess uses Alex's story to challenge the reader's assumptions about good, evil, and choice. Early on, we understand that Alex doesn't feel any guilt for his actions, but Burgess raises the question, if someone can't choose to be good or bad, can they truly be held responsible? The world around Alex is one of manipulation and control, hinting that the true battle in this story is over the power of choice. As the novel progresses, Alex's gang begins to turn against him. His leadership is challenged, and the group grows more rebellious. The cracks in their loyalty become clear during a robbery that goes terribly wrong. After breaking into the house of a wealthy woman, Alex's violence leads to her death and the police arrive at the scene. His gang, seizing the opportunity, betrays him, leaving him to face the consequences alone. Alex's arrest marks a turning point in the story as the criminal justice system enters the picture. Up until this point, Alex has been free to act on his impulses without consequence. But now, society steps in, and the punishment Alex receives is harsh. He's convicted of murder and sentenced to 14 years in prison. For a while, it seems like prison might actually reform Alex. He befriends a prison chaplain and even pretends to be religious, although it's clear that this is just another manipulation on Alex's part. He isn't genuinely seeking redemption. He just wants to game the system, showing his talent for deceit. Still, prison is a wake-up call for Alex, as the violence and power structures inside are just as bad as, if not worse than, the world outside. This cycle of brutality and domination, where Alex is no longer the one in control, forces him to question his place in a world built on power struggles. But the real shift comes not from Alex's time in prison, but from a new, radical method of rehabilitation that the government offers him. Enter the government's experimental Ludovico Technique, a controversial method designed to condition criminals to feel intense sickness at the thought of violence or crime. The technique, though sold as a means of rehabilitation, strips Alex of his free will. He becomes a puppet, physically incapable of making violent choices, even in self-defense. This brutal process involves Alex being forced to watch endless streams of violent footage while his eyes are held open. A drug administered to him causes unbearable nausea whenever he's exposed to the images. Over time, this conditioning creates a Pavlovian response. He can no longer stomach violence. And here is the heart of the moral dilemma. While Alex is now incapable of harm, he's also incapable of making moral choices. In the world Burgess paints, the government's attempt to fix Alex comes at a steep cost: his humanity. What makes this part of the novel so chilling is how Burgess contrasts physical freedom with psychological imprisonment. While Alex is technically free to live in society, his mind is chained. Burgess forces us to ask, is it better for society to eliminate free will in the name of security, or does the freedom to choose, even wrongly, make us human? After enduring the Ludovico technique, Alex is released back into society, but he's a broken version of himself. His past victims, both the people he harmed and his former Droogs, now seek revenge. But Alex, now physically incapable of fighting back, becomes their victim. These scenes of Alex's powerlessness are disturbing, as the once violent boy is forced to face the cruelty he once inflicted. What's even more horrifying is society's reaction to his condition. He becomes a symbol of the government's success, a reformed criminal. But as we witness his suffering, it becomes clear that this reform is a hollow victory. The public and media don't see the loss of his autonomy. They see only the removal of his violence. This reveals another layer of Burgess's social critique. The novel's dystopian government isn't concerned with morality or genuine rehabilitation. It's about control. The state seeks to mold its citizens into compliant subjects, and Alex's condition becomes the ultimate proof of its power. Yet beneath this control, the violence in society hasn't disappeared. It's only changed hands, and now Alex, once the predator, becomes prey. As Alex suffers under the Ludovico Technique, he unwittingly becomes a pawn in a political struggle between the government and opposition forces. The opposition sees in Alex an opportunity to discredit the government's inhumane methods. They exploit his condition, using his suffering as a tool to garner public sympathy and outrage against the ruling regime. Alex's treatment pushes him to the brink of despair, leading to a suicide attempt that almost claims his life. But instead of being a moment of tragedy, Burgess presents this as a moment of revelation. As Alex lies in a hospital bed recovering, the government is forced to reverse the effects of the Ludovico Technique to avoid further scandal. Alex regains his ability to choose, which brings the story full circle. Once again, Alex has free will, but now, after all he has endured, he must decide what kind of life he wants to lead. In the novel's final chapter, Alex reflects on his past and future. Unlike the unrepentant delinquent we first met, Alex now feels a sense of weariness. The endless cycle of violence no longer excites him. He dreams of starting a family, of becoming a father and raising a son. This longing suggests a new desire for stability, peace, and responsibility, a potential for growth and redemption. Yet Burgess leaves us with a question. Has Alex truly changed, or is this just another stage in his journey through life's temptations? What do you think about the idea of controlling behavior for the greater good? Leave your comments. We'll see you in the next time.